Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Can you see me? If you can see me on Instagram, because I got an error message, or if you can see me on YouTube or Facebook, put a thumbs up so I know you can see me and hear me. Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing? Okay, I think I'm seeing some people in here, so you can definitely see and hear me. Come on in. How's everyone doing? Bold and beautiful Suraj, good morning. Hi from the city of Angels, T Miles. Good morning, Tina Love Thorpe. Good morning. Errol Morgan, good morning. Eben, good morning. Hope everyone is doing good. My name is Aisha Chidole. I'm an immigration lawyer. I represent clients all over the U.S. with their humanitarian-based and family-based immigration cases. We take cases in all 50 states, so your location is not a problem. If you're out of the country and you want to immigrate to the U.S. and you have a way or a petition available to you, we're happy to assist you if it's related to family or humanitarian-based cases. To schedule a consultation, my number is 407-995-6567. You can also send a WhatsApp to 404-333-8751. All right, let's just jump right into it. Let me see what questions you guys have today. How can I get a longer stay for my mom, Italian citizen, since I need help with my newborn twins? Please help. Valicilia, I don't know what your own status is, but if you are a U.S. citizen, then you can file for your mom. If you're a U.S. citizen, file for your mom, and that way she can stay here while you're petitioning for her, and then she can get her green card. So that's how you can do it. Otherwise, you're going to have to, because she's Italian, I don't know if she's here on a visa or on ESTA, like she came in with the visa waiver program. Okay, you're a permanent resident. As a permanent resident, you can't file for her, unfortunately. And if she didn't come with a visa and she came with a visa waiver, there's no option. She has to go and come back, unfortunately. All right. Good morning. I got fired from my job because they said my I-9 expired. I'm on WOVA. I don't know what WOVA is. I don't know what that means. So I need a little bit more detail. What's the timeline for VAWA? Really, what's next if your receipt has been 2 years since the case has reviewed? VAWA cases, honestly, can take anywhere from like 2 years to 2.5 years to 3 years for some people. It just really depends on what happened in your case, what they need clarification on. Like some people, their cases will be approved in 2 years, some in 2.5 years, 3 years, some people even earlier. But usually if it's earlier, it's because there's something that warranted them to do an expedite on your case. But that's kind of like the timeline. Yeah, Leela says, you look beautiful. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Can someone in removal proceeding get married and file for adjustment of status? Well, it depends, if you can. It's just that the jurisdiction changes with who has the ability to review your case. An immigration judge might be the one that would have to make that decision as opposed to USCIS once you enter into proceedings. Okay. I came in here illegally and I got married to a U.S. citizen 5 months ago. Can I have help from you? Certainly, you can schedule a consultation with us. If you came in illegally, you can adjust your status based on your marriage to the U.S. citizen. You would have to do the I-130 when that's approved. You do a hardship waiver. When that's approved, then you can go back to your home country to consular process. Obviously, there's some exceptions, i.e., if you qualify for VAWA with your spouse, if let's say your spouse is abusive or extremely cruel, then you can do your adjustment of status while you're here, so that's the other option. Good morning. I'm seeking food stamp using my prima facie. Will I be denied food stamp if they know I work? Possibly work more than monthly requirement. I can't answer the questions on the food stamp requirement because that's not an immigration related question. So your best bet is ask them and then they can tell you what the requirements are. Okay. What's the timeline to get an EAD after your I-130 has been approved? Timeline depends on when you submitted your I-485 adjustment of status. So have you submitted that? That's really what will determine. Filed for vow last October 2023. I got my EAD and my I-131 approved on 11th of April. Is it possible to travel to India while my I-360 and I-485 is pending? Also not jeopardizing my DACA either. Without knowing your immigration history, I can't give you personal advice. However, if you do have a travel permit, usually you're able to travel without jeopardizing if there's nothing else going on, but I can't tell you specifically because I don't know your immigration history. I just got married in March. How do I go about filing my paperwork? You call a lawyer, Thorpe. Call us and we'll help you file your paperwork. My vow is approved. How long for my green card? This depends. It can vary anywhere from like 2 months to 6 months on average. For a lot of people, I actually have an update for you guys. So for a lot of people, after your vow is approved, typically, USCIS might send you a request for your medical exam. And that could be within 1 to 3 months of that approval. And once you send it to them, they can then make a decision and give you a 10-year green card. But, last week, USCIS has now announced that basically if you've done your medical after November 2023, those medicals are now valid for indefinitely. So basically the medicals don't expire. So whereas before I would typically want my VAWA clients to submit their medical after the approval just because the medical would have expired by the time they get to the end of the process. Now, if you can send your medical at the time you're submitting your VAWA application, it will be helpful to reduce that extra step of requesting an RFE for you to get a decision made on your case quicker. What advice would you give to a friend of mine who's married for almost 5 years? He did all his paperwork and biometrics over 6 months ago, but still hasn't gotten a work permit. The advice is tell your friend to call me, 407-995-6567. Let's see what's going on with his case. However, 6 months is really not a long time. If he did his paperwork, most people get their work permit 4 to 9 months. So he's still within the normal processing time. Okay. I worked in paramilitary of my country before I moved to the States. I'm due for citizenship. Does that affect my naturalization? It doesn't. You should have been able to put that information in there in your application for your green card and explain it. As long as you can explain it, like they don't stop people from, if you were in paramilitary, if you're in the police or in the military, as long as you're not part of a country that is, considered a risk to the United States, etc., or whatnot, you shouldn't have a problem. I mean, amongst other things, Jay Patel says, hello, my hubby has a work permit, but he forces me to work in his store, but I really do not like to work there. I have a student visa. Can I apply for a T visa? That's not enough. We need to know more. We'll need to screen you and see if you qualify for a T visa, because there are so many aspects of it that you have to be able to put the check mark before we can say, yeah, you can apply for a T visa. This person, Emmy, I don't see the first part of your question, so I'm not able to answer it. Yeah, I'm not able to answer it because I only see someone sent you a divorce letter, so I can't answer that. Are they still waiving marriage-based interviews? Both. Some people get interviews, some people get waived. It's not everybody that gets waived. That's not true. If you're thinking that everybody gets waived of a marriage-based case, that's definitely not true. Some people get waived, some people get scheduled an interview. There's literally no rhyme or reason for it. We'll definitely see more waivers than interviews, but definitely people are still. In fact, tomorrow I have 2 interviews back to back in the same location, so that should be fun. Can affirmative asylum status be sponsored by a company to change his or her status? No. Affirmative asylum is not a company. It's not a company-sponsored immigration application. Affirmative asylum means that you're filing asylum because you have a credible fear of danger or death in your home country. So only you can do that. Nilesh says, "Hi Aisha, my vow was approved on the 1st of this month after 3 years. Yay, good for you. Your videos helped me better understand how vow works. Do you know how long before I get my green card and interview?" I actually just answered this question. You know, so which I said it could take anywhere from 3 months to 6 months. So that's kind of like the window. Someone says your words are coming after I talk. I don't know what's going on with my Wi-Fi today. For those of you on Instagram, is that what's happening for you as well? Am I talking and then the words come after? We're gonna need to up our Wi-Fi in this office. I filed for my VAWA when my F1 was still valid. Can I travel abroad without parole? No. Mercy, no. If you file for VAWA and you have put in an adjustment of status application, you absolutely cannot travel without parole. If you travel without parole, cancel out your adjustment of status. It's getting denied. So no, you got to wait till you get that advanced parole. Okay? Basically, think about it this way. No matter what other status you have that allows you to travel inside and outside the country, once an I-485 document has been put in to immigration, all of those become obsolete. If you travel on any other documentation other than your advanced parole travel permit, you can come back with that other thing that allows you to travel. It's just that they will deny your I-485 because they will say you've abandoned your application. Okay? Dudu says, I have a case with you. Can you please check your email when you have a chance? I sure will. I check my email all the time. I mean, I get hundreds of emails per hour, believe it or not. So you probably need to send a message on the client portal so that, one of my team members can respond to it. For a parent of an ex-wife, U.S. citizen, abused child. Oh my gosh. This is like a math. Let me think about what you're asking. So your ex-wife is a U.S. citizen. I can't understand. I can't understand the connection of the question. I'm sorry. Can I still file for vow after my petitioner withdraws my I-130? If you qualify, yes. We'll have a misdemeanor that's been dismissed and still jeopardize a green card application, married to a U.S. citizen. It depends. It depends on what your state punishes it under, how recent it was. Is it something that USCIS considers a crime of moral turpitude? Is it something that is considered a petty offense? So it really depends. Without seeing exactly what it is, it's hard to say. My wife and daughter have been in the U.S. for almost 3 years now. When is the appropriate time to apply for naturalization? Blessed McKing, for your wife, if your wife is in the U.S. as a green card holder on the basis of marriage to you, she can apply 3 years from the date in which she received her green card. Now, with your child, it depends on how old your child is. If your child is a minor and under 18 and she's already a green card holder, she can derive citizenship either through you, if you're already a U.S. citizen, without having to put in a naturalization application. Because you can't put a naturalization application if you're a minor. You can only do that if you're 18 years old or above. So the answer will really depend. And even to derive citizenship, there are still some requirements, including residency with the U.S. citizen, or at least one U.S. citizen parent, and some other stuff. So I would need to know all of that to be able to let you know. And then if she's not a green card holder and you are a U.S. citizen, then you can definitely file for her. Okay, so nobody has an issue with my syncing. So to the person who said it's syncing, maybe refresh or log out and log back in and see if that's what it is. What advice can you give someone on asylum for 8 years without an interview? None, because I don't do asylum cases. So I try not to advise on things that I don't handle if I can't help you with that. My vow was approved and reopened 3 days after. I have a job offer last year, October, but my work authorization is yet to be approved. What can I do to expedite my work permit? If you have the job offer and that you're at risk of losing that, you can attempt to see if they will allow you to expedite it based on you losing that, and that's like a source of livelihood for you, and all of that good stuff. If I can file under 18, I'm now 24, I'm considered a citizen, or do I have to do a citizenship exam? Honestly, some questions are really difficult for me to understand. Like if you guys just proofread it before you read send, because I truly try to dissect, and sometimes it's just really hard for me to understand. I'm not sure I understand your question, but I just answered a question about when you can apply for citizenship. So I hope that answers your question. Basically, if you're under 18, you cannot do N400 application for citizenship. If you're over 18, you can. But of course, there's some other eligibility requirements before you can put in that application. I put in a work and travel permit together, but only received the work permit without the travel permit. Do they come separately? This is a very good question, and I know for some people it's a source of concern. Honestly, it's all dependent on the processing of your cases. Prior to like maybe the last 2 years, you'd almost always get a combination card. But when the EAD started getting like ridiculously delayed, USCIS basically implemented a rule that allowed them to just make a decision on the EAD and then later on make a decision on the travel permit. So if you got the EAD and not the travel permit, it doesn't mean you won't get the travel permit. It means that most likely they just wanted to process your EAD quicker. And I find that happens more with people who their EAD gets approved just like that, like really quickly. Those are the ones generally that you may not have the travel permit attached to it. Majid Tokosi says, my marriage interview is today. Wish me luck. Good luck on your marriage interview. Make sure you guys are prepped. Make sure you guys are in sync about everything as it relates to your marriage. Know how to spell your wife's name. Make sure your spouse knows how to spell your name. If you have children, you both know it. Previous marriages, you both know the previous marriages and divorces, how you met. Do not go there and be over lovey-dovey or get into a fight and you're like on the opposite. Just be normal. Be very respectful to the officers. And hopefully, if you've not left your house, you bring every single new evidence that you didn't take with you before. So like a question that people ask me a lot of times is, well, do I still need to bring this to the interview? The answer is yes. So like, whatever you submit to the interview, you don't need to bring it. But, the time between your application and the interview, they expect you to have acquired more things, whether that's new, bank statements or insurance or maybe a new child, all of those new things. You definitely want to take those with you. But all the best. Come let us know next week or how your interview went. What's the difference between an I-485 interview and an I-130 interview? This is also a really great question. An I-130 interview determines your good faith marriage. So an I-130 interview is an interview that's given to determine if you truly and genuinely are married, and it's not because of immigration that you guys got married, meaning it's not a sham marriage. An I-485 interview is the actual interview that gives you the green card, that determines your admissibility as a green card holder in the US. And that's why you find like with the I-485 forms, when they start asking you questions about have you ever worked with the authorization? Have you ever claimed to be a U.S. citizen? Have you ever committed a crime? Have you ever solicited a prostitute? Have you ever kidnapped someone? Those are I-485 related questions to make sure that there's nothing in your records that make you inadmissible. But then when they're asking you questions about, well, when did you guys get married? Where did you guys live? etc. Those are I-130 questions to determine the good faith marriage. And that's why when you receive an NOID, which we call a notice of intent to deny, or annoyed, which is what I call it, it's usually the I-130, because the notice of intent to deny is usually saying they're intending to deny based on them not believing your marriage to be a good faith marriage and stuff. So most of the time it's with the I-130. Please, can I file for valid after my petitioner withdraws? If you qualify, yes. As a nurse in the U.S., can this be of any help in your valid case? Yeah, it can definitely. There's still preferences given to healthcare workers, so you can certainly provide that showing that you are a healthcare worker. Okay. Hello, my pretty attorney Aisha. I have an uncle who just misplaced his green card that was just delivered to him less than, oh my goodness, 10 days ago. Can he go to USCIS office to pay for replacement and change the address for the new delivery? Can he also request for a travel document to travel out of the United States while the replacement card is in process? So the first part is he can't go to the U.S. office. Things have changed a lot. He has to submit an I-90 to get the replacement. Once he has the I-90 receipt, he can take it to schedule an info pass to then go into the USCIS office and ask for a temporary I-551 stamp. That's essentially a green card that they'll stamp on your valid passport that will allow him to travel while he's waiting on that. But that must be frustrating, after waiting for a while and then losing your green card that quick. At what point do they ask for medical? Medical is needed for them to make a decision on the I-485. Medical is also one of the requirements to determine, are you admissible as a green card holder? A lot of times they're looking for communicable diseases or diseases that can cause some sort of pandemic, in the country. For those of you who want to know, because I know I get this question asked, well, what are they looking for? What kind of medical are they checking for? Mostly a lot of vaccination type stuff. You can check on the I-693. That's the name of the medical, and it lists there all the things that they're looking for. Okay. All right, guys, I hope you guys have an amazing day. I will not be on live tomorrow because, like I mentioned, I have 2 interviews bright and early in the morning. Hopefully everything goes well with my clients. I will talk to you guys next week, and I hope you all have an amazing week. All right, bye.